Hello, students and instructors. This is Dr. Swanson. Happy to be with you on video again. This time, I will be giving you some extra mile ideas for Chapter 8, Writing the Public Relations Plan, Step 3, Implementation. This video is called Be Prepared to Pivot. Here's the deal on that. As we've said in the textbook, no public relations project or campaign comes out exactly the way you've planned it. It just won't. There are too many variables, and most of them are outside your team's control. In the book, Professor Whitmer and I discuss and illustrate some of them. We've been involved in PR campaigns for many years of our professional experience, and we've worked for many years guiding student teams in public relations campaigns. It's just a fact. So, what your team needs to be ready for is a pivot. When something you planned is not going to come about, pivot. Pivot to an alternate idea that will work. Importantly, be ready from the outset to make that pivot. Keep some plan B ideas in your mind, just in case plan A doesn't work out. Let me give you an example of a pivot one of my student teams had to make at a terrible time for all of us: coronavirus. It was spring of 2020, and I was supervising our student-run agency at Cal State Fullerton. We had taken on a client, the Orange County Health Department. The health department was concerned that there would be low response by college students to the 2020 U.S. Census. The health department was responsible for boosting student participation. So, our agency developed a campaign to raise awareness among students at more than a dozen universities and community colleges in Orange County. My students had a strong strategic plan. They were going to carry out in-person events on campus at these colleges to make students aware of the census so that students would understand what it was all about and why they needed to participate. Then along came stay-at-home orders, social distancing, campus closures. Our campus canceled classes for a week and then resumed classes in Zoom. Other colleges in Orange County did the same. Everything my students had planned collapsed. You want to talk about pivot? Oh my goodness. This was about the worst situation you could imagine. The whole framework of the campaign imploded. It was a terrible time for the client, too. Suddenly, participation in the U.S. Census was no longer on the radar for the county health department. On their radar, saving lives. Long story short, my students did a great job changing the entire structure of their campaign. All the on-campus events were tossed out. In their place, the students quickly constructed and administered an email survey asking college students questions about the census, what they knew about it, telling them how important it was, and how students could make sure to have their participation count. Of course, this was the beginning of the pandemic, and we did not get a high response rate, but we did get enough to provide valuable information to the health department about what students at different colleges and universities knew of the census and how likely they said they would be to participate. One other valuable deliverable my team pivoted to: they created a database of all the colleges and universities in Orange County, their location, enrollment, names of administrators, their student media, contact information for student media, and a whole lot of other information that would help the health department in future outreach to college students. It wasn't the campaign we planned on, but in the end, it still ended up providing valuable information for the client. And sometimes that's what happens when you pivot. You don't end up creating a new campaign as much as you do carry out research and build a foundation for a different future campaign. That can still be okay because you provide the client with information that they would not have had the time, knowledge, or resources to gather on their own. So, to wrap this up, plan for the best, but know there will be changes. I hope they are small, but you never know. You and your team must be ready to pivot. If you need to pivot, speak with your client rep and instructor to have the pivot be as minor as possible and the outcomes as successful as possible. And until next time, thank you for joining me for Go the Extra Mile.